The freighter Aurora's Grace drifted silently through the violet haze of the Carath Nebula, its hull reflecting the glow of distant stars like liquid silver. Inside, the atmosphere was calm, almost deceptive in its serenity. The ship hummed with quiet efficiency, engines purring in perfect rhythm, and the corridors smelled faintly of ozone and polished metal. The narrator, an alien diplomat with emerald-tinted skin and delicate fractal markings along her arms, leaned against the railing of the observation deck, watching her human husband move about the control room. He was unassuming, gentle, and so utterly ordinary in appearance that she often forgot the danger the galaxy held. Soft brown hair fell over his forehead as he adjusted a panel, his fingers precise and steady, his expression serene. "Are you sure he belongs on this mission?" whispered one of the younger alien crew members, their voice tinged with doubt. "He barely lifts a phaser without trembling." The narrator smiled faintly. "Humans are not what they seem. You'll see." Her husband hummed softly as he worked, unaware of the whispers. His focus was quiet, meticulous, a mind that observed, calculated, and adapted. While the aliens often relied on brute strength, his approach was subtle, almost invisible, and yet startlingly effective. Small anomalies flickered on the sensors. Shadows of unknown vessels drifted at the edge of the nebula, moving in patterns that seemed almost playful, yet unnervingly precise. The aliens murmured among themselves, speculating on pirates, smugglers, or rogue factions. The human simply sipped his coffee, glancing at the readings with mild interest, his brow furrowing just slightly. The narrator felt a shiver of anticipation. There was something about his calm that unsettled her. In the midst of uncertainty, he moved like a rock in a storm, unyielding. Other crew members had teased him repeatedly, calling him fragile, incapable of contributing beyond minor technical tasks. Yet she had begun to notice subtle signs of his hidden capability. How he repaired a console faster than the ship's AI could respond, or how he predicted a minor course fluctuation before the navigation computer even registered it. "Do you really think that will hold?" another crew member asked, tapping the shield array with concern. Her husband looked up, his soft brown eyes meeting theirs. "It will," he said simply. No bravado, no arrogance, just quiet certainty. He returned to his work, adjusting the shield calibrations with delicate precision, making tiny modifications that would make the freighter far harder to breach than any brute force attempt. The narrator's heart swelled with a strange mix of pride and anxiety. She knew the galaxy was unpredictable. Pirates and raiders were drawn to freighters like moths to flame, and even the most secure vessels could fall prey to an unexpected assault. And yet, there he was, her gentle human, so underestimated, so calm, so capable in ways no one realized. A soft beep on the main console drew her attention. Unknown vessels had approached, closing distance faster than expected. The gentle hum of the ship's engines now seemed like the lull before a storm. The narrator's pulse quickened, but she glanced at her husband and found him smiling faintly, serene as a summer morning, adjusting the ship's shields as if performing a mundane chore. In that moment, she understood the truth. In the galaxy, underestimating a human was a mistake no one could afford.
The alarms tore through the Aurora's Grace like a scream. Red warning lights flickered across the corridors, bathing everything in a frantic staccato glow. The hum of the engines shifted into a panicked whine, and the ship shuddered violently as if acknowledging the threat it now faced. "Pirates! They've breached the outer shields!" a crew member shouted, gripping a phaser with trembling hands. The narrator's heart leapt into her throat. She turned to her husband, expecting fear, hesitation, anything. But instead, he stood calm, almost serene. His soft brown eyes scanned the readings on the console, every movement precise, deliberate. Not a muscle twitched with panic. "Stay behind me," he said quietly, almost gently, as if guiding a child. There was no shout, no command, just authority in its purest form. The first intruders appeared in the corridor, silhouetted against the flashing red lights. They were massive, clawed, and heavily armed, their armor reflecting the chaos around them. The alien crew froze, uncertainty rooting them to the spot. Then, the human moved. He didn't charge like the aliens might have expected. He didn't rely on raw strength or flashy weaponry. Instead, he ducked behind a console, grabbed a length of conduit, and swung it with perfect timing, knocking the first pirate off balance. He rolled across the floor, grabbed a fallen energy tool, and slammed it against a second intruder's armor plate. Sparks flew, but he moved without panic, without aggression. Pure precision. The narrator's jaw dropped. Every move was calculated, almost artistic. Where the aliens relied on force, he relied on ingenuity and timing. He used the ship itself as a weapon, sliding panels to trap attackers, activating gravity controls to flip a pirate mid-stride, even using the reflective surfaces of the corridor to blind one of them for a split second. "Watch him," whispered a young alien, eyes wide. He's incredible." "Calm down," the narrator whispered back. "Just watch." The pirates recovered, but they were unprepared for his tactics. One attempted to grab him, only to find the floor beneath their feet invert momentarily, sending them crashing into the ceiling. Another aimed a pulse weapon, and the human ducked, grabbed a nearby cable, and used it to redirect the shot into a wall, stunning 2 more attackers at once. Amid the chaos, he moved toward the narrator, shielding her body instinctively, his movements fluid, graceful, and terrifying in their efficiency. Even the alien crew began to rally, inspired by his calm effectiveness. Following his instructions, they set traps, sealed off corridors, and coordinated counterattacks. It was no longer a desperate struggle. It was a tactical ballet led by the one being they had all underestimated. The boarding continued, but the tides were shifting. The pirates, confident and brutal, were faltering against the cunning of a human who, until now, had seemed fragile, incapable of heroism. The narrator's chest tightened, not from fear, but from awe. This was the man she had married, gentle, kind, unassuming, yet in the face of danger, he became something the galaxy had not anticipated. And she knew, with a certainty that made her heart pound, that the true storm had only just begun.
The freighter's corridors twisted in chaos. Sparks rained from damaged panels, and the lights flickered unpredictably, casting long, jagged shadows. The pirates had regrouped, more cautious now, their confidence shaken by the human they had underestimated. They moved in tighter formations, trying to overwhelm the crew with numbers, but the husband anticipated their every maneuver. "Keep close," he said to the narrator, guiding her behind a bulkhead. His voice was calm, unwavering, and somehow soothing amidst the storm of alarms and shouts. "Trust me. Watch carefully." In zero gravity, the pirates made their next move. One launched himself toward the control console, hoping to disable the ship's navigation systems. The husband calculated the trajectory instantly. With a subtle kick off the wall, he met the pirate mid-air, twisting and redirecting his momentum. The intruder slammed into the bulkhead, stunned but alive, a testament to the human's precision. Lethal when necessary, but measured. The narrator's eyes widened as she watched. Every movement of his was a combination of intellect, instinct, and intuition. Where aliens relied on brute force, he used physics, timing, and the environment itself as his weapon. A floating cargo crate became a barricade. A swinging cable immobilized 2 attackers at once. The pirates' confidence crumbled further, replaced by confusion and panic.
One particularly massive pirate attempted a flanking maneuver. The husband anticipated it, ducked into the shadows, and triggered a floor panel to rotate, sending the attacker spinning helplessly into the ceiling. The other crew members were stunned into admiration, following his lead to secure the corridors. The human's ingenuity was contagious, his calm, strategic mind inspiring courage in others. Why is he so good? One alien muttered, shielding themselves behind a bulkhead. Because he's human, and humans are unpredictable. The husband reached the main cargo bay, where several pirates were attempting to access the ship's sensitive supplies. With deliberate movements, he set up a series of improvised tripwires and energy-dispersing panels. When the pirates triggered them, alarms and flashes of light disoriented them, giving him a chance to neutralize them efficiently without a single unnecessary strike. Throughout the chaos, he never let go of the narrator's hand. She felt the strange combination of terror and trust, the calm heart of a storm, and understood, truly, what made humans exceptional. They were adaptable, courageous, and creative in ways no other species could replicate. Even when surrounded, outnumbered, and the freighter groaning under the strain of the boarding, the husband remained composed. His mind raced ahead, calculating contingencies, predicting enemy behavior, and turning the ship itself into a weapon. Finally, after a tense series of maneuvers, the immediate threat in the cargo bay was neutralized. The remaining pirates hesitated, unsure how to proceed against a human who thought several moves ahead, always 2 steps beyond them. The crew began regaining control, inspired by the husband's example. The narrator watched him, breathless, realizing that the gentle, seemingly fragile man she had married had become the pivot upon which the fate of the freighter now rested. Calm, kind, and yet unstoppable, he had revealed the full measure of humanity under pressure. And the battle was far from over. The freighter shuddered violently as the last group of pirates scrambled through the corridors, desperate and disoriented. They had underestimated the human, and now the tables had turned. His calm, methodical strategies had transformed the ship from a vulnerable target into a fortress, and every crew member knew it. "Stay close," he whispered to the narrator, guiding her past a corridor littered with debris and sparks. He moved with a fluid grace that seemed impossible given his gentle demeanor, every step precise, every calculation exact. The pirates tried to regroup, but the unpredictability of his tactics kept them off balance. In the observation deck, the final skirmish erupted. The husband used the environment to his advantage. Rotating gravity panels sent pirates tumbling, strategically deployed panels reflected energy pulses back at attackers, and improvised barricades funneled them into confined spaces where their numbers counted for nothing. He didn't strike blindly. Each move was deliberate, conserving energy while maximizing impact. One pirate lunged at the narrator, claws extended, eyes filled with malice. In a heartbeat, the husband positioned himself between her and the attacker, catching the pirate in a precise maneuver that threw him across the room without breaking a sweat. The narrator's chest tightened, not with fear, but awe. This was her gentle human, turned guardian, strategist, and hero in one fluid motion. Other crew members, inspired and emboldened, rallied behind his lead. Together, they systematically cleared the remaining threats. The pirates faltered, realizing that their brute force had been no match for human ingenuity. The freighter, though battered, remained intact, a testament to the husband's foresight and clever tactics. As the last pirate fell, silence washed over the ship. Red alarms faded into a low hum, lights stabilized, and the ship's AI confirmed that critical systems were secure. The narrator ran to her husband, throwing her arms around him. He held her close, still calm, still gentle, his strength not measured in muscle or violence, but in courage, intelligence, and composure. "You were incredible," she whispered, voice trembling with emotion. I never realized." He smiled softly, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "I'm just a human," he said, almost modestly. "We've had to survive in ways other species can't always imagine. Sometimes being gentle isn't weakness. It's the ability to see the solution no one else can." The alien crew gathered around, expressions filled with newfound respect. "He's remarkable," one muttered. "We underestimated humanity badly." The narrator looked out the observation deck window at the swirling nebula beyond. Stars streaked past as the ship drifted steadily on course. She realized then that the human she had married was more than gentle. He was a living embodiment of human adaptability, courage, and creativity. Where others saw fragility, she now saw unyielding strength. Her husband's hand found hers again, fingers intertwining with a quiet reassurance. "The galaxy doesn't know what it's in for," he said softly, "but we'll be ready." And in that moment, as the freighter sailed away from the battlefield, battered but unbroken, she understood the truth. Humans were underestimated not because they lacked strength, but because their strength was subtle, unassuming, and impossible to predict. Gentle they might appear, weak they might seem, but when the moment demanded it, humans could become legends. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and in the vast silence of space, humanity's quiet power shone brighter than any weapon, any alien army, or any pirate ever could.